Okay, so like mentioned, this is our Repsy webinar, first of the year, so the 26th of February 2026. I am going to be taking you through this presentation. However, once our webinar has concluded, this will be sent out to you as well. So you have this exact presentation as a reference point after the session. Okay. Let's just go down. There we go. So before we get into the meat of our presentation, we just wanted to highlight quickly the purposes and other additional details regarding our webinar series. Right. So one of the reasons why we do this webinar every quarter is we understand that a monthly email is not always sufficient. You know, so giving you just a rundown of, hey, this development has been released. You know, we do understand also that, you know, you as our clients, you are busy, you know, you get into the throes of daily workflows and emergencies and, you know, reps and merchandisers coming and referring queries and issues to you. So we understand that you're not always available to go read emails, especially if they are not priority for your current workflows. So we like to have this, you know, dedicated time to make sure that we can show you exactly what is going on. And also product descriptions can be misunderstood, you know, so having a sort of face-to-face interaction, make sure that you know fully what each development entails. What's great about these webinars too is they provide us with an interactive platform. You know, so you can ask us questions, we can answer them. We can give you our little, you know, tips and tricks, you know, dependent on how we have used each of these functions and how we see is the best way to use them. So we can also showcase the product releases. And with that additional context that this platform provides, we can also ascertain 100% if this, you know, specific feature or development is relevant to your business. You know, sometimes if you're reading it over an email or a quick notification, you don't always know whether it factors in or could factor into your workflows. So it just gives us a really nice platform. And these sessions are designed to encourage active participation and questions. Okay, so we do have a dedicated question and answer section at the end. There is also a Q&A tab that you can go into and submit your queries. So please, we encourage you to use that platform. Any questions that you have, please post them there, and we will try and go through them as best and as thoroughly as possible in the designated section. Okay, we also take this opportunity to highlight our support channels and processes. So if there's any day-to-day technical or general queries where you can submit those to, and the process when it comes to product development requests. So we do have a dedicated section for that as well. And as mentioned, our webinars will run quarterly. So after this one, you can expect the next invite sometime in May. Okay, so we will give you ample notice of that to give you guys time for the registration. All right. So then just webinar house rules, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. As mentioned, there is a Q&A section at the bottom. So that is where we would encourage you to post your questions, and we will address them during the designated Q&A segment, just to make sure that the flow of the presentation is not interrupted too much. So if you have a question, you can post it in the Q&A section while we're in that section, and I will go and address it after the fact. Or if you just write them down somewhere and then you can go and post them and we are in the Q&A section. Either way works, but we will attend to them as best we can. Your microphones are not enabled during the webinar, just to also eliminate disruption. So any general comments, you can use the chat function. Okay, and then just a notice, the session is being recorded. So along with the presentation, we will be sending the recording to you as well once we conclude. All right, so now we can go into the fun stuff. So our agenda for today, just recent Repsy product releases. So we're going to give you just a high-level overview of what was looked at and achieved in 2025. Then we're going to look at coming soon, so Q1 of 2026. And then we have the resources and Q&A sections. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. So we have a 2025 Wrapped. I just wanted to highlight that 2025 was a great year for Repsly. It was a record-setting year, as it was Repsly's highlight year where we launched the most product development to date. So 2025 was a fantastic, fruitful, successful year. So we are coming into 2026 with a really, invigorated approach when it comes to product development, and we're very excited about what is to come in 2026. Okay, so this is just a very high-level overview of what we shipped in 2025. It's just highlighting the approaches that were used and kind of high-level practicalities that we were looking at in 2025. You can read this within your own time once you get the presentation. We're just letting you know that we've looked into smarter forms and faster insights. We have improved our team-based visibility and controls. Image recognition, so that is a separate function that not everybody has access to. That is an add-on that you will pay additional costs for, but image recognition is something that Repsly is looking into, and general AI workflows. So we do have a slide on that later if you are interested. We have looked at flexibility within scheduling at scale, and of course reporting that drives decisions, as we know that reporting is paramount for your admin visibility, and operational efficiency and insights. But the spotlight for 2025, our main focus that we were really drilling into reviews and feedback and overall just general upgrading of the functions, was matrix forms. So I am sure that most of you guys in the session are aware of what the matrix forms is. We do have some highlights of additional functions in the upcoming slides, but essentially it is revolutionizing the way that you can audit. Okay, so you can evaluate multiple products or variants, as I like to call it, in a intuitive grid with auto pull and item level photos. And the result is surveys now take minutes, and you get structured data that your team can act on and share. Okay, so that was our pride and joy for 2024. You will see that we do have a link here. It says read more in the Repsly in Review 2025. I highly encourage you to go and have a look at this article. It gives you insights into what was focused on in 2025 in a much greater detail, but what it also gives you is a sort of a 2025 Wrapped, where it gives you what Repsly was able to accomplish when it comes to our client base. So how many forms were submitted, how many check-ins were done, how many reports were extracted, all of those kind of things that just really bring to the forefront how much value Repsly brings to its client base, and we are striving to improve upon that value every single quarter. So I think it is a really interesting read. I would encourage you to go and have a look at that. Okay, so then section 1, Repsly product developments. So we're going to just highlight the recently launched releases. Okay, so the first one I am personally very excited about, because I know this is going to affect a lot of our admin users in a positive way. We have added flexible edit controls for place attributes. So if some of you recall, in the application settings under places, you had one standard setting that allowed your field team to edit your place information. So that included all of your standard fields as well as your custom attributes. Now that didn't give you a lot of flexibility to say, I only want these items to be viewable. I don't want the reps to go and make edits, or I want them to make adjustments to this as well. It was very all or nothing, which the Repsly team did see needed some improvement. So what we have achieved is we are now providing you more flexibility in how reps interact with place attributes on mobile. So now your standard place fields and your custom attributes are split. So for custom attributes, if you want the reps to go and make adjustments depending on the changing circumstances within the market, they can go ahead and do updates to the custom attributes, or they can just be view only. You can also restrict their visibility if some custom attributes, say for example, are for admin purposes only. You can make sure then that that is not available to them to view, to eliminate confusion, so on and so forth. So now those custom attributes are separated from your standard attributes. So if your addresses, if your IDs, if your tags, if you want that untouched, we can make sure that that is untouched while leaving the custom attributes available for editing. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that this screenshot here is a little different to how the function actually works. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a demonstration in our test environment. So if you come into application settings and we go into places, you will see we have a new setting. It says edit standard place information via mobile app. So if turned on, representatives will be able to edit the standard attributes of a place on a mobile device. So the address, the name, the tags, things along those lines. For custom attributes, so those fields that you create, editability and visibility can be managed individually from custom place attributes. So it does provide you a link here where you can go and make your changes. You can also access it within the settings cog, go into custom attributes, and then you have them split between your place attributes, rep attributes, and product attributes. So what I wanted to highlight, which is really great, is if we go into, let's do this one as an example. If you go edit place attribute, you now have these options here where you can allow the representative to view. So if that's switched off, it means it will only be visible to admin users. The reps will not see them. You can make custom attributes mandatory. So if you need to ensure that the rep provides up-to-date information, especially when they are creating a store from scratch, if that is what they do, then they will have to supply this information once you create it. And then here's where you can allow the representatives to make adjustments. Okay. So this is what we say, where you can have them viewable or editable depending on what is required under your circumstances. Okay, so this is a really great function. It gives you a lot more flexibility and control as to what is visible and what can be changed. Okay, just wanted to. Our next one is time-based form visibility rules. So a lot of you would have probably seen this. We have a new section within our form templates called the rule builder. So the rule builder, well, the rules in the rule builder are currently under beta testing. So if you guys have not gone in and fiddled around with these rules, I highly recommend that you do to understand how they can be beneficial to you. And also we have 2 brand new rules that have been released, which I will cover in a few slides. And these rule builders will only grow. So there will be multiple added, and it really streamlines the visibility, submission, and reporting of your forms. So this is something that I would highly recommend you get comfortable with, and any questions that you have, please reach out to us. The one that was released in 2025 was a time-based rule. So you can easily schedule when forms appear to reps by setting custom date windows. So you can say at this starting date and this ending date, this form needs to be active and visible to the reps. Once the end date passes, the form is automatically removed from view. So this is going to be great for some of you guys that have a lot of forms, especially if they are seasonal. This eliminates the need for you as an admin to go into each form and manually deactivate them. So in the form builder, you set, I want it active for this and this time, and then the system does the rest. So it's a set and leave sort of function, which I think is extremely helpful. And you don't need to have one period active at a time. If, say, for example, a form is seasonal, you can go ahead and apply multiple date ranges. So you can have one in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 as an example. Okay. Then connect form visibility to projects and visits. So these are two additional rules that have been added to the rule builder. So essentially, in simple terms, the one, limit form visibility to scheduled visits. This allows you to say, okay, with this particular form, I only want it visible at visits that have been scheduled in my rep's schedule or call cycle. So if they do a ad hoc or an unscheduled visit, you know that that form is not going to apply to a visit under those circumstances, so it's not going to pop up. Okay, so that first rule, only when you add it to that particular form, that form will only pop up during a scheduled visit that is loaded within their diary. The second one, limit form visibility to project visits. Now, projects is only relevant to those higher packages of scale and flex. But if you are on those packages, what this allows you to do is very similar to the scheduled visits. However, it allows a form to only be visible during a project visit. Okay, so it just makes sure that the reps are only seeing what is relevant to them under particular circumstances, and it prevents them from completing, tasks or work outside of what is being planned. So it's giving you a lot more precision into what is done out in the field. Okay, next one is the supporting of SSO and standard login in one account. So you'll see to the top right, this is available for plans Grow, Scale, and Flex. Grow has SSO as an add-on. I do believe this is at an additional cost. SSO is included already within the Scale and Flex packages. Just to give you a little bit of insight, if anybody is not aware what SSO is, it allows you to use one set of credentials to log into multiple apps or multiple logins. So say, for example, say you open Instagram and it asks you, would you like to use Google or Facebook to log into Instagram? That's essentially what SSO is. So what Repsy has gone and done is they have given you as admins more flexibility by allowing you to assign the SSO login option at user level instead of, okay, the entire company now uses SSO. You can decide these particular users can use SSO while other users have to put in their email and their created password. Okay, and then it says external contractors or partners, example Gmail users, can now access Repsy without extra support steps. Okay, so it just makes the streamlining of logging in a whole lot nicer. Okay, now into matrix forms. So new tools for efficient auditing. So the main features we have added, so you know that the matrix forms, as mentioned earlier, was the focus of 2025. It is still being worked on. There are multiple releases and improvements that our product development team are releasing on a regular basis. So along with the actual matrix form question release, what they have also done is they've allowed you to access the full product information. So if we have a look at the slide, the screenshot to the right, it shows what it looks like when the rep on the mobile app opens a matrix form question. So all of the products or the variables are the rows that you see to the left, and then the columns or the questions that need to be answered per product are the columns to the right. Okay, so what they have done is what we have seen is, for example, in cases where a product name is fairly lengthy and you can't 100% see what product it is referring to, or also if you have multiple products that have similar naming conventions and perhaps the only difference, say, is right at the end, or it's a flavor, or it's a sort of packaging type, something along those lines. You're going to need to distinguish between them. So what the system has allowed is the rep can then click on that product name and it will open the product's profile from within Repsy. So for example, we clicked on this first one, the Cabernet Sauvignon, and we now have the profile open. So you can see the product photo that has been linked to that particular product. You'll see its full name as per its loading on Repsy. any description, its barcode, its product ID. And then it also gives you just a summary of what questions are being posed and which ones have been answered. So then that gives the reps the assurance that they are auditing the correct products and answering in the correct formatting. Okay, what they've also done is, if everybody is not aware, they've added a search bar as well. So especially if your audit is fairly lengthy and they want to go and jump to a certain product instead of having to scroll through them all, they can use the keyword to isolate that particular instance, and then they can proceed with what they need to do. In line with that, they have also added a barcode scanner. So if anybody used or uses the sales documents, it works in the exact same way. If you have a product with you that has a barcode that has been loaded into Repsy, you can open the barcode scanner function. You can go ahead and physically scan that barcode, and the product that matches with that information will pop up for you instead of you having to go and scroll through the whole list. So it's just, again, really streamlining the matrix flow and giving reps everything that they need to ensure that their time submitting audits is cut in half, making it a lot more efficient. Okay, then we have new Forms API with Matrix. So this is intended to improve access to form data and simplify integrations with expanded API capabilities. So with Matrix being introduced, a new API specific to the Matrix function had to be released. So that is available, and it is in our API documentation if you wanted to go and have a look at that. So you can now fetch Matrix data directly from forms. So you can retrieve the question responses through the API. Form IDs are no longer needed. You can pull all of your exports on a date basis. So you can pull all submissions after any given date that you specify. And then additional fields are now supported with the API, which is the check-in type and project name if your package makes use of the project function. Okay, now this one that we're going to cover is very great for your companies that are of a larger size. You're doing a lot of exports, a lot of variables in your exports that make them pretty large files. What we did notice was some of those exports would slow the system down, and if they were large enough, the system could potentially crash. So then that disrupts your workflows, and it could be a pretty big problem. So what Repsy has done for us is they have released the async exporting of sales documents and forms. So essentially what this is you pull your export like you usually would. If the file is a large enough file, what it will do is it will complete the download in the background. So you can continue with whatever workflows you were doing on the Repsy system. Once the export is ready, it will be sent to you via email with a link that you can then click on and then go ahead and download your Excel sheet. So it just streamlines the whole process. Make sure that you are not stuck when a large file is being downloaded, and we are trying to eliminate as much as possible the possibility of crashes on the system. Okay, so you will see when you download, it says your export will be prepared and sent to your email. If the file is small enough and it is available to you immediately, it will not download automatically like what it used to. Instead, to the bottom right, you will see this pop-up block here. It says your task has been completed, and this is a link which you will then click on, and then your Excel will be downloaded to your laptop. Okay, if the file is large and it gets sent to you via email, you will get this email that says that your export is ready and that your link is valid for 7 days. Okay, so we are hoping that this will be better the experience for you guys, especially when you're doing your month-end reporting and there's a lot of data that you need to get through. Okay, so that is what has been released. We are very excited about what has been done, but we're even more excited about what's to come. So we're now heading into our coming soon section of the webinar. Before I get into this, just bear with me while I read our mandatory disclaimer. So this product roadmap is intended to outline our general product direction and is not a commitment to deliver any material, code, or functionality. Please use this roadmap for information purposes only. It should not be relied upon in making purchasing decisions. The development, release, and timing of any features or functionality described for Repsly's products remains at the sole discretion of Repsly. Okay, now this one I am very excited about because we've had a lot of interactions with customers, especially when their scheduling gets a little bit more intricate, a little bit more complicated, trying to scale it. We find that the scheduling function does become a little bit more demanding, especially when you need to optimize, who covers what area, how many stores do we think is logical for that area's, scale or size. How do we know that what we are scheduling is logical when it comes to travel? So what Repsly is working on, and we don't have any information yet as to the plans or specific timelines, but what Repsly is working on is an AI-assisted territory optimization. So an AI-powered territory analysis and planning recommendation right within the Repsly web app. So it does appear like it's going to be chat guided. So how you would use potentially Google with the Gemini AI responses, and also if you use Chat GPT, it seems like it would be along those lines, where you can ask questions in plain language to filter, exclude, and test scenarios in table and map view. So you will get all of the rundowns as per your question in the chat function, and you will also have that broken down to you visually on the map. Okay, so then this also allows for opportunity detection. So you can, identify workload imbalance. So if a rep has a lot more stores assigned to them than what you feel is logical. Coverage gaps, any areas that don't have a rep assigned, you'll be able to see that. And oversized territories where, this is not plausible for one field team member, we need to split it between 2, 3, etc. You then have clear recommendations. So AI tools suggest when to merge, split, rebalance, or plan hiring. And then the planning logic. So decisions then will reflect how an experienced territory manager would plan. Okay, so we're very excited about this one. We feel like it is going to be such a showstopper, make scheduling and territory planning so much easier and streamlined. So as soon as we have more information and context on this, we will be sharing that with you. This is all that we have at this time, but as soon as we have more, we will share it with you. Then dynamic product lists. So this is relating to the matrix form questions. So at the moment, Repsly is looking into a function called APLs, where you can specify the product list that should be relevant for each store. And what Repsly is doing is they're going to expand on this idea further with the introduction of dynamic product lists. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the products that have to be available or expected within that store. We can create multiple audits that you can assign in bulk. So more than one dynamic product list can be assigned to allow your reps to answer the questions that you want them to answer for your reporting matrix, exception reports, things along those lines. So the example that they've given us, or a few actually, is a zero sales and underperforming SKUs. So this would be called the zero sales DPL as an example. So you can focus questions on products with no recent or declining sales. Your must-carry items or MSLs in some languages. Highlight priority SKUs that require extra attention for compliance, launches, or promotions. So this is great also if, for example, you're doing a speed to market. This is going to be a fantastic way to really streamline that. multiple product lists per store, so you can use different lists as mentioned within the same form. And then integration powered lists, so you can use connected data sources. Okay, so we're moving beyond the static approved products as mentioned, and we are tailoring your workflow further. So any product list that you feel is relevant, that you need to gain insight on, you can go ahead and assign that list directly. Okay, so we don't have any additional information available on this either. The APL function is also still being worked on. So we are going to enable anybody who finds the APL function valuable, make sure that that is understood first. And then once the dynamic product list is released or where we can provide training, then we will definitely do so. Okay, multi-select questions in matrix. So this is what's coming up. At the moment, a matrix form question has your typical yes or no's, your numeric, your photo, and single selection. So they are going to be expanding on those options further. And the first one they're going to be expanding on is the multi-select. Okay. So we're going to give the reps the flexibility to select more than one answer per matrix cell. So how a normal multiple answer question works in your standard form flow is going to work the same within your matrix. Okay. Now, also something I feel that is going to be exciting. It is a small change, but I feel it also just makes general admin workflows a lot easier. You will be able to edit submitted data for branched form questions. So in the past, if there was a form question that had a parent and then you had a conditional action, you couldn't go and edit the parent because there was a conditional action assigned to it. So what Repsly is now doing is they are improving the data accuracy and reducing rework by allowing edits to submitted responses for both the parent and the conditional action. So you can edit the submitted answers, both reps and admins. So if you click on a submitted form from the activity feed, you will be able to adjust the answer from there. And the rep will also be able to adjust it in the event that they made a mistake. They will be able to make that adjustment from the mobile. Okay. Then the parent-child relationship stays exactly the same. You can just make adjustments should you need to. And then you can build towards full post-submission editing across all form question types, which is what we are trying to achieve with this function. So a small thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it gives you a lot more freedom, and it also makes sure that your reports are as accurate as possible. So it is a really great one. Okay, limit form visibility by select places and territories. I personally love this one. It's going to give you guys just so much more control as to who, where, what sees forms under particular circumstances. So you can control where forms can be accessed by selecting specific places and territories. So if you recall at the moment, the main way to limit form visibility is place tags. So any tag that is assigned to the form, places that have the matching place tag are going to be the places that that form shows up, where the rep can go and then submit that form. We do also have rep custom attributes as an option to restrict visibility, but not everybody uses, custom attributes. So in that case, the control was fairly limited. Now we're going to be expanding on this. So now you can specify certain places by their names. So instead of their place tagging, you can go by the store name and then particular regions as how they are loaded in your territories section. So we want to reduce clutter and ensure accurate execution for field teams by showing only relevant forms. You can improve data administration with reduction of place tags, which is something that we have found if you're using the place tags as form restrictions. What can happen is then you have multiple place tags active, and then it becomes a little bit of a mission to go and clean up those place tags once you need to go ahead and clean those up. So this is going to make that workflow a lot easier as well. and overall we are increasing granularity of place and form management. Okay, all form visibility settings and rules in one place. So as mentioned, the form builder templates, they are going to continue to be released, and they're all going to be accessible in the one place. So I do just want to show you this practically. I feel it's very helpful. So on the back end, you go into your templates and you go into forms. So now also what has been released, which is very helpful, is a shortcut to your rule builder visibility. So how it was in the beginning is you would go into a form and you'll see that there is a tab to the top. It says rules. So you can click on there and you can see all three of our rules that we've mentioned during the session are available here. You can go in and select template, and then you can adjust it as is required. So any additional rules that are released are going to be put in this section, so they will all be in one place. I also want to highlight that instead of having to go into each form and click on the form rule builder and then proceed with your changes, they have given you a shortcut here. So under visibility status, what it also does is tell you whether a rule is pending, whether it has ceased, or whether it is currently active. So that's a really great once-off identifier of each status. And then if you click on the number of rules, it's going to jump straight to the rule builder for that particular form. Okay, so it just makes navigation a whole lot easier for you. Okay, so we're just managing where, when, and by whom forms are visible from a single interface. We are improving transparency by making form visibility easier to understand and audit, and we're laying the foundation for more advanced visibility logic over time. So please watch this space. As you see, the Repsy has big plans for the rule builder, and I think a lot of development requests that are currently in the pipeline could potentially be addressed by these rules that Repsy is planning on releasing. Okay, so watch this space. Okay, then we have third-party access to real-time form data. So we are giving external partners secure real-time visibility into form data without custom portals or manual exports. So the third-party platform, Repsy decided that it needed a well-deserved upgrade. So this is what the upgrade is going to entail. So we're going to be providing automatic access to submitted form data in real time. The third-party viewers can view form reports, submissions, and photos directly in Repsy, just making the whole workflow so much easier. And then the partners only gain access to forms and data they have been granted access to. So how the current third-party access works, where you specify what forms or tasks they have access to, that's going to still be in place, so you can control 100% who sees what. Okay. And then handle high volume scheduling. So for those of you who have team members that have quite a few scheduled visits per day, you would have heard us tell you that the route optimization function has a maximum of 25 stores per day that can be optimized. So this was identified as a gap within the function. And so there was some discussions because that limitation was from Google's side. But now after Repsy has looked into this, we are now expanding our route optimization to allow the support of 50 visits per route. So you can now route optimize 50 visits per day, enabling more efficient planning during high volume days. So once this is released, you can have up to 50 and they can be route optimized without a problem. You will unify schedule and form tracking by including both IDs in a single export for clearer reporting and easier analysis. So they've just given you more of that relevant information in your exports, so you have everything that you need. So very excited about this one too. Okay, now in lieu of any slides regarding shelf scan, which is something you may have heard of, but is related to our image recognition function. What we have gone and done is just given you a slide just as a very basic introduction to image recognition and essentially what it is built to achieve and how. So it is AI tech that analyzes shelf photos to automatically identify products and evaluate shelf conditions. It enables faster, more accurate shelf audits, reducing manual effort and ensuring merchandising standards are met. So we thought instead of giving you those slides about shelf scan and you're probably scratching your heads going, well, I don't know what this is. What we'll rather do is just introduce image recognition to you, see what it can do. And then if you feel like this suits your particular use case, you can go ahead and get in touch with us and we can go more in depth as to how image recognition and its related functions work. Okay. So the whys, image recognition helps you to eliminate manual shelf checks, saves time in store, improves accuracy and consistency, provides you with verifiable results in the form of photographs and metrics, and then it drives merchandising compliance. And what we wanted to highlight to you specifically is our AI capabilities are a source of continuous innovation. So this is being worked on just like every other aspect of Repsy that we have shared during this presentation. So updates and enhancements are released on a regular basis. Okay, how image recognition helps is through providing insights on share of shelf, on shelf availability, out of stock, facings, price tag compliance, product placement, and competitive analysis. Okay. So we just also wanted to highlight that image recognition is charged at an additional cost. Image recognition, if you are interested, is available as an add-on for the Scale and Flex packages. Okay, so then under the How section, I've just given you the names of some of our functions. So if you want to go into a Repsly's website and have a look at what information is available there on image recognition, there are some keywords there for you. And you are more than welcome to reach out to us directly to discuss how IR can be tailored to your business. Okay. All right. So we have reached the end of the presentation. So now we can go into our question and answers section. So I just want to open chat quickly. So guys, please, if there's anything you want to comment on, highlight, ask a particular question, you are more than welcome to. I see we do have a question here. I just want to read it quickly and then let's post it if it is helpful to everybody. Okay. Okay, the question here is, I've tried to extract users adding more than one role. It came back blank. Does it mean one cannot extract multiple user roles? Okay, the person who posed that question, if you can please send a direct email, then we will be able to assist you further. I would have to go test that, but you can definitely filter for multiple roles. I just need to understand exactly how that works when you're actually going about the export. Okay, so just send that directly to me and then I'll be able to assist you. Okay, this question I think is very helpful, so I'll go ahead and project this one. So the question is projecting a question. Oh, sorry, project. Excuse me. So the question is, will third-party access to the real-time forms require additional licenses, or is this a facelift to the links shared previously? So this is a facelift. So as the current third-party access works, you won't need any additional licenses. So that's not something that you would pay for. It would work the same way where you give particular users access. I would have to, receive some more information about whether it would work the same way where you give them a username and a password. It stands to reason that it would work like that, but I'm not going to guarantee that. I'd rather share that once we have more information, but it would be a case of them being given access to specific forms or real-time flows that you want them to have access to, and then they will just go in and sign in as an outsider. So no licenses will be required as far as I'm understanding. Okay, just reading this next one. Okay. This third question, I've also noticed when action items, i.e. form extractions, Repsly turns to not respond. One has to refresh several times. It is a recent thing we noticed. If you can send that to support, please, as we haven't had any, real complaints via the support channel regarding this. This is something that I would rather have to look into your system specifically and just understand what is happening there. Some very common or general troubleshooting steps that you can take is making sure that your Wi-Fi connection is reliable. Perhaps removing your Repsly bookmark and then loading it again onto your web browser. Making sure that your web browser is Chrome. Chrome is our recommended browser being used. If you clear the cache and the cookies on the browser that you're currently using, and also making sure if there are any outstanding updates on your machine, as that can sometimes affect the performance. So have a look at those, tick boxes first. If it is still persisting, then please send us an email to support, and we will look into that further for you. Okay, next one. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading very quickly. Okay, this next question, are we going to have a feature to extract more than one form at a time, as we are struggling when we have multiple forms? So this has been loaded as a development request. We don't have any feedback yet as to that. As soon as we do, we will share that with you. At this point in time, it still stands where you will have to extract one form at a time. Okay, I did see one here. Give me a mo while I read it. Okay, this is a great question. So I'm just going to read it out to you guys. So with regards to the edit controls for places, is it only the additional attributes that would be editable by a rep, i.e. would this exclude the store's basic information? And would there be audit logs so that we can keep track of changes made? So that's a very good question. Thank you for submitting that. So with the nature of the changes that Repsly has done, the edit controls for additional attributes and the standard have now been split. So what that means is if you want the reps to make adjustments to your store's basic info, you'll go ahead and switch that on in the application settings that I showed you. So if you have that tick on, it will mean they can change the address, the name, the assigned status, contact info, place tags, things like that. So you can still switch that off if you don't want your reps to have the ability to change that, or you can have it on if you want the reps to be the source of truth when it comes to the data linked to your places. The big difference here now is additional attributes are not affected by that store's basic info setting. That is now split. So if you go into your custom attributes, there it's only going to be settings for your custom attributes. So if you want them to have visibility of them, you can make sure that it's switched on. If it's more of a case of a reference point for the admins, then your custom attributes can be switched off as a viewing option. So then the reps cannot see them, only the back office can. You can make the custom attributes view only. So just for their visibility, this is what this information is, but you don't give them access to change it because this is something that the admin is in charge of. And then you can also allow them to make adjustments to the custom attributes as well. So in a nutshell, you can have store basic information edit on and the custom attributes on, or you can have standard off and custom on, or standard on and custom off. It solely depends on your workflows and what you want the reps to have access to. So they are now completely split, which gives you that freedom. When it comes to audit logs, at the moment, we don't have logs that show what changes were made. Will there be audit logs so that we can keep track of changes made? So we don't have that at the moment. I don't recall anything coming up highlighting that is something that the teams are looking at. As far as I understand, it's going to work as it always has worked. If we hear anything to the contrary, we will be sure to let you know. Okay. Let's have a look what else we have. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a nice question. So on the rules, let's go ahead and project this quickly so that everybody can look at it. Maybe not, rather not. Okay, so on the rules, once a date range is set, will the form become inactive? Meaning when we want to extract it, it must be made active, or does it remain active in the background for reporting purposes? So the form will be made inactive as far as I'm understanding when the date range is set. So if it falls outside of the date range, the form will be inactive, meaning the reps cannot see it in order to submit it going forward. In the form reports section, where we encourage you guys to pull your forms, I do believe it does have a tick box asking you if you want to see inactive forms as well. So it is a very straightforward process just to click on that tick box, and then you will see a list of all of your active and inactive forms, and then you can pull as is required. Okay. So those are all of the questions that I'm seeing. We do have a couple of minutes left. Any additional questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat. I'll be happy to answer you with our last 5 minutes. Thank you for that wonderful compliment. I do appreciate it. Okay. I'm not seeing any typing. It looks like you guys are happy, which means I did my job well. So I just wanted to thank you guys once again for your time. It's really nice to be able to connect with you guys and answer your questions like this. Oh, there's another question. Let's see. Do we have third-party access to sales documents? That I would have to check for you. Previously, as far as I understand, the third-party access was available for forms and retail audits. I'm not sure if it's for sales documents. I would have to go and check that for you. That is a great question. I'll make a note and I'll go and find out. Okay. And then maybe I can take this opportunity quickly while we have everyone here, just in closing. If everybody has not heard, over the course of 2025, it is the intention of the Rexley team to grandfather the retail audit function. So if anybody is making use of the retail audits, don't stress. It's not going to happen overnight and then you lose your retail audits. Essentially, the matrix form questions is meant to be the replacement of the retail audits. So what matrix forms allows you to do is recreate a retail audit in the exact way that you're using them now, while also giving you the flexibility to add more and to provide more context and use the template in more ways, where retail audits were very specific to pricing surveys and there wasn't a lot of room for adjustment. So that's why the form matrix has been such a topic of concentration for the Repsy team. So if anybody is still making use of the retail audits, we highly encourage you to start integrating over to Matrix. We do have a dedicated section in our knowledge base articles concerning Matrix forms if you want to do some additional reading. Any questions you have on Matrix audits, we are always here to, Matrix forms rather, we are always here to assist you. So send us a support email or a direct email and we'll jump in and help you as is needed. We would advise that the transition over to Matrix forms be done sooner rather than later. So then when the time comes for retail audits to be switched off, that you're not stuck. Okay. So any questions on that, just let us know. If you have any issues recreating your retail audit templates into Matrix, please give us a shout and we will be happy to jump in and assist you. Okay. Great having you guys. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and an awesome weekend. And yeah, we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.